Tensura What If? Silver Timeline by CBCTEBAS Chapter 3 Recruitment Sources. Before the day when the others presented their newly recruited subordinates. Going back a little bit in time to find out how they met and how they were recruited. Inky, 5 years after starting work. Wonder what kind of world this one is? Inky asked excitedly as he marched through the gate with a few of his subordinates. Normally he would leave some here and go to the next to be more efficient, but he is already close to placing all of his subordinates with only a few left. Alright, spread out to gather some information. He ordered his subordinates as they all nodded and disappeared. He then started to walk through the calming forest, just enjoying the moment and waiting for the others to return to him. A voice, a small and quiet sound was heard. He stopped walking and listening, before silently going to where the sound came from. He saw a man and a woman going at it in the forest. Strangely enough, he could feel spiritesque aura coming from the man. No, Santa, HP. Ah! The woman moaned before coming into climax. After in which she passed out, the man pulled out and laid her neatly by the tree. He started walking away right after. Hey, isn't that a bit rude, Mr. Playboy? Inky said as he shows himself from the shadows of the trees. The man reflexively turned and looked at him. Who are you? The man said, surprised. He observed Inky up and down. He felt Inky's hidden aura and the superiority he exudes. Me? Just someone passing by. Are you just going to leave that girl there? Inky said, looking at the sleeping girl leaning on the tree. This is how we reproduce. We captivate women and have them bear our children to increase our numbers. The man replied with a normal expression and tone, not a hint of guilt. Why not just marry? Or maybe have a lot of wives? Why leave them after implanting your seed? Inky asked quizzically. You don't have any plan on seeing your child? I assume you aren't human like them? The man asked, in which Inky nodded. We are a male-only species. To reproduce we mate with human women. Unfortunately, giving birth to our species babies have a 95% chance of death at childbirth. And in those that survive 5% all die after a week. So you mate to increase your number, huh? Do you leave the child? I will be taking the child once he is born and support him until he grows up. The man said, I'll ask now, what are you? Fair enough, I am an Inky, born from materializing a flame spirit lord into a new species. Inky stood straight, with his arms folded in front of him as he grinned. Flame spirit lord. The man was shocked at Inky's words. Just like our fire ancestor. He said, muttering to himself. He walked forward to Inky and took a knee. What's this about? Inky asked, confused shown in his face. This may be fate to meet you, my lord. I would be honored to work for you as your servant, he said with a determined look in his face. What's this all about? What do you mean, your lord? I don't even know you or your kind, Inky commented. Understood, I will explain my origin and why I would like to serve you. The man then explained everything to Inky. From the beginning of this world, a certain flame spirit lord was placed in here by a certain being, Veldanava, due to the excessive magicules the spirit absorbed as he traveled through worlds. The magicules the spirit had was increasing day by day. No amount of releasing his aura, or blowing steam by firing of magics could decrease his magicules enough. He tried doing everything he could think of before he may explode from excessive amount of magicules. One of those ways is mating with a human woman. He realizes that his magicules did decrease much larger than releasing his power. He started mating with hundreds of females, within just a month. When the time of the birth of his first child, he saw the female literally burn from the fires the baby exudes. Soon after the other females also gave birth, and only a few survived the labor. Even they died within a few days. He continued mating more females as his magicules still increases with no signs of stopping, until one day, he went too far and died planting his seed for the last time. The men birthed from the spirit continued to increase their numbers to honor their ancestor. The inhabitants of course retaliated, fighting of the fiery men from killing of their women just to increase their numbers. While the fiery men were stronger than a human, the humans' numbers made up for their lack of strength. They even developed weapons that could easily kill them. That's the reason why, even though the fiery men have lived for thousands of years, their numbers are still low. I see, do you really need to reproduce though? I mean, do you want to? Inky asked as they talked, sitting down and leaning on trees. Of course. We have the obligation to spread the seed of the ancestor and increase our numbers, the man said passionately. Aside from that, well, not really, I mean, I never really thought of it. You said, you wanted to serve me, right? Of course. It would be an honor to serve someone that once was similar to the fire ancestor. The man pounded his hand to his chest. Do you think the others of your kind will think the same for serving me? Inky asked, looking at the man with a serious tone. The man gulped from the tension. Of course, I dare say they'll beg you to let them. Good. They may be of use to Rimuru-sama, and we could increase their numbers very easily. The other Enkis returned. Inky-sama, we have information, they bowed. Good, tell me about it as we travel. Inky smiled, standing up and looked at the man. Bring us to where the others of your kind are. The man nodded. Also, could you bring the woman to some settlement nearby? Inky said to one of his subordinate. Did you kidnap her from somewhere? She seemed to have been attacked by bandits and was loose traveling alone after losing her companions. The man shrugs. The nearest settlement is west of here, about 30 minutes of flight. Inky looked at his subordinate. He nodded and took the woman and flew west. Well, let's go meet them then, Inky said as they flew following the man. Siren, 3 years after starting, investigate the surroundings. Siren ordered her subordinates as she looked through the plains of the world she was standing in. The world was a simple plain world with sea and land territories, with living organisms living normally. The animals seem normal. No abnormalities on the plantations as well. Siren muttered, looking around her surroundings. Soon the others returned and discussed what they have gathered. The overall world was a normal one with no monsters or sentient beings to speak of. The atmosphere is covered in magicules and yet no monsters are appearing. The ground seems to be even more potent on magicules. The magicules of the air are probably just leakage of the ones contained in the ground, Siren said as she talked with the others. What should we do, Siren-sama? Asked one of the others. Try investigating the planet. Some of you dig through the ground, it could be in the plains or deep in the mountains, while the others take a dive on the oceans. Siren ordered a few of her subordinates. We have located the next gate, Siren-sama, one of the Sirens said, just returning. Good to hear. Continue the investigation and relay to me the data gathered on a later date, Siren said as she started to go to the next gate. The others simply nodded in affirmation. Years passed since then and Siren was in HQ sorting out information when she came upon the report on this world. Huh? She unconsciously blurted out, looking at the report. She stood up and prepared to go to said world. She went to the halls with gates designated to all worlds marked by them and opened one before entering. Siren-sama. Good to see you here. One of the Sirens in the area came and bowed. I've read the report. Just to make sure, explain it to me in detail, and where are they? Siren said to the subordinate. The subordinate nodded and guided her to the others. As stated on the report, we have recently found sentient beings occupying this previously simple world. It was about a week after Siren-sama left that they started appearing. A week? It has been years since I last came here. Why has this only gotten to me now? Siren asked, surprised by how long this data has been. Forgive us, Siren-sama. They did not post any danger and everyone was busy at the time and we did not want to disturb Siren-sama for something unimportant. The subordinate said in a panic and bowed. Ha! It's fine, continue. Siren gestured, waving her hand for the subordinate to continue. Yes, they are sentient beings that are what looks like a materialized inferior water spirits, the water sprites. They seem to see us as their superior, considering they don't have any hostility towards us and follow our orders. So have you asked about their origin? That we have. They seem to recall being born from the very planet itself. They simply emerge from the ocean as their forms manifested, the subordinate explained. That is too vague. Anything else to add? Siren said, asking for more details. It is still a theory, but we believe that they manifested because of his sirens. Siren had a confused expression from what her subordinate said. The subordinate simply smiled wryly at her master's confused face. Whenever one of his sirens leave this world, we felt a type of pressure released from us. Like, we've been carrying something heavy or not breathing properly whenever we are in this world. After further studying about this phenomenon, we realized the world is discreetly taking magicules that we leak and more towards itself. I see, Siren realized what gist of the situation. They are born because of our magicules, like a defense mechanism of the world making its own version of us to show it means no harm. This is also useful to gain our pity and gain a type of familial bond with those beings supporting this world. Impressive as always, Siren-sama. The subordinate smiled, clapping. The fact that the sprites don't show hostility and follows our orders support this theory of ours. How strong are they? Siren asked, already thinking if they can be useful to her master Rimuru. From the spars and experiments we've done by simulations with real monsters, they range in around M- in terms of ranking. That's pretty strong, isn't it? Siren commented to her subordinate. They could deal a lot of damage even in the cardinal world standards. We believe this to be because of the potency of this world's magicules. It has a lot stored inside that creating them is simple and easy. The two finally arrived to the location. And here there are other sirens that are interacting with the beings of this world. Siren-sama, the subordinate said as they rushed and bowed their heads to her. The sprites looked confused for a second before seeing the aura that Siren emits. They soon followed and bowed their head as well, some even going as far as to take a knee. Siren waved her hand, gesturing them to go back to what they were doing. They followed and started to spread out again, doing their designated jobs. Siren walked to the group of sprites, talking with one of her subordinates. The subordinate bowed as she came. I have heard about you, Siren said, looking at the water sprites. The sprites are nervous, listening to Siren as she emits the aura of being the strongest in the area. I ask you, why do you listen to us? Siren said, looking at them. The sprites started looking at each other before one of them stepped forward. We follow the sirens as mistresses of a superior kind to us. We accept our difference in strength and have decided to follow the mistress people. Is that so? Siren voiced, and the sprites all nodded their heads. So if I ordered you to fight for me? We will fight. I see. Siren smiled at them. They could be useful to Rimuru-sama, although their numbers are still small. Let's wait it out for now. Lei, 1 month before the gathering of subordinates. Lei voiced out as she looked up the sky to where she was standing. Lei-sama, we have found the next gate. One of the Inkys said to Lei after they were ordered to look for it. Good work, she said without leaving her sight of the sky. Have everyone pass through the gate. The Inky was confused. Normally they would leave 1 or 2 here to study and protect the world. He didn't voice it out though, as he is only a subordinate and doesn't have any right to voice his opinion. Understood. He bowed and left with the others. In a few minutes all the Inkys and sirens with Lei has passed through the gate. She locked it and stored the key before flying to the tallest mountain in the world. I can feel you staring, you know. Lei said, looking up the sky. Soon the sky changed color. It was supposed to be night and yet the sky turned a color blue and with black in the middle. No, it wasn't the sky that changed color. The being watching Lei just got closer. A seraph. A deep voice that directly talked to Lei and her said. Greetings, O primordial one.